Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kokona, Wisconsin, riding a CST Tires SSI Decals Valvoline backed Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 152 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our more than 275,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in 111 countries in which you are listening, and this is our 2025 Daytona ATV Supercross preview show. Don't ask me how we're already just days away from the start of a brand new season of ATV motocross. The season kicks off Tuesday inside legendary Daytona International Speedway, so there is no time to waste. Let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. Whether it's the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the GOAT of electric razor trimmers, my favorite, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped, or the best nose hair trimmer ever created, the Weed Whacker 2.0, get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. Support all the great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. It's that time of year, the new season is officially here, and you and your machine may still need some TLC. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. Shout out to all of our past donors. If you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, of course. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, leave us a rating or review on iTunes and Spotify, because that helps us out a bunch too. And one last call as you kick back and begin to daydream about the incoming season opener. Signups, of course, are open at atvfantasy.com for a new season of Digging Deep ATV Fantasy. The Daytona season opener is just a couple days away, so waste no more time and start assembling your team today at atvfantasy.com. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, we're here kicking off a new season of ATV motocross action just a few days from now, and joining me to help preview the Daytona season opener is none other than Mr. Billy Cottage, coming to us courtesy of SSI Decals, the best decal and graphic supplier in the industry today. Check them out at ssidecals.com. Mr. Cottage, welcome back to the show, buddy. It's been a little bit. Thanks so much for your time, pal.
Yeah, man, it's been a bit. I'm glad to be back, though. I want to talk some moto. I'm ready for the season to get started.
Heck yeah, man. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have you on. You reached out and said, hey, man, if you need somebody to chop it up with about the races coming up here, I'd love to do it. So anytime, that's my rule of thumb, Billy. Anytime somebody says that they actually want to come on and do this, like you're a lock to be on, right? But when you got as much passion as you and I got, man, like I said, I'm going to have you on every time that you're down for it.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Billy, tell people where you're coming to us from right now, because you're not coming to us stateside. You're not coming to us from from a recording studio like I'm at. You're not at Daytona yet. You're elsewhere. So tell people where you're reporting to us from right now.
Well, I'm actually sitting on the back porch of a condo in Antigua.
Nice. That's your spot, right?
Yeah. This isn't normally where I'm at as far as on the island, but the place that I normally stay, there was a sailboat race this week, so it's super nice. It's just not in the neighborhood that I normally like to stay at.
I understand. Now I'm relatively good geographically, but where is Antigua? I'm not familiar.
So I guess if you would go south of the Keys, south of the Bahamas, and then you start hitting like St. John,
Okay.
and all them, it's like just below them, just north of St. Lucia.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, I know my wife is familiar with that area a little bit, but yeah, never been. We're gonna have to make a point to come down there and hang out with you or something.
I told you, yeah, man, anytime.
Yeah, pal. So last time we talked to you was leading up to the Legends race. Was the last time we talked to you, dude. You ended our conversation leading to the Legends race. There, you said you wanted to surprise some people. You wanted to show them what you could still do. And man, you were at the front of the pack all weekend. I mean, you know, the Legends race has went by now a little bit, but I feel like we still talk about it on every episode because it's so legendary. Obviously, forgive me for the pun there, but
Yeah.
it was absolutely incredible. What was that experience like? And then for you to finish in the top 5 overall, man, it was just so cool to see. So tell us about that a little bit.
It was really fun because everybody kind of had the same mindset of, you know, basically not being stupid.
Let's not kill each other. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I actually went by Joe twice, and it was out of everybody there, you know, he saw me, I had the line, and he kind of just let me go. Like the first time it happened, I said, all right, you know, if Joe's doing it, we're all being easy, you know, and it was really fun. And everybody kind of gave way or moved if you messed up and somebody was right there. It was nice. Nobody wanted to get hurt, and everybody was there just for the fun. I would have been happier to run up there with them. You know, the front 4 guys really were on it.
Yeah.
But, you know, when arm pump set in like 4 turns after the start in that sand section, I kind of took it out of everything.
Well, you know, the thing is too, I mean, we know, I mean, Natali's so gnarly, you know,
Yes.
obviously like he goes on to win a thing. He's so gnarly, but he had been putting in some time and doing some laps and stuff ahead of time. And Wimmer, we know, was training like a son of a gun. And
Richard never stopped riding.
Exactly. And then the surprise of the weekend, at least kind of for me, was Bithell. And for him to finish 3rd as a, you know, former GNCC guy, and now he's been a dirt bike guy for a long time. But it's funny because leading up to the race, Jeremy Osborne, the track owner there, had texted me at one point and said, hey, Bithell's out here riding and you're not going to want to sleep on him. And man, he was freaking
he was
gnarly.
on the gas.
Yeah, he was gnarly all weekend.
It was awesome to see him out there and to see him do as good as he did. And I don't know him personally at all. I know of him, and we have mutual friends, obviously, and stuff. Yeah. But honestly, it was kind of the joke because I was bummed that I got beat by a guy with a twist throttle.
That's funny.
But no, man, he was on the gas, and it was, you know, the first, I'd say probably 2 laps, I could see them, and all them guys were just packed together, and they were on the gas. They rode really, really good. But like you said, I mean, it's hard to compete with them guys, especially when they've been training, and, you know, you got people like John, who's just a freak anyways. Well,
and you came into it not having done any laps really, right? And you weren't riding your quad. I mean, you were riding an awesome quad, but it wasn't your quad.
Man. I'm going to be honest. I got on Bryce's quad. They brought it there. It didn't have plastics. It was missing a bunch of parts and stuff. And Baldwin had to like loan us some parts, and we got some plastics on it and everything. And I went out and I rode, and Bryce is about 55 pounds lighter than me.
Okay.
And I came off, and my dad was like, how was it? You know, he's way lighter than you and stuff. And I was like, Dad, that thing is incredible. It doesn't feel like I knew it was soft, and I was riding the bumpers everywhere I went. But I'm like, that thing, which I knew going into it. I mean, it's a Baldwin built Honda. I mean, you know,
knew it was going to be good.
Can't get a lot better than that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It was so much fun to see you up front, and still, like, you know, time has passed now, and I still look at this list of guys, and it's so gnarly. Like, I just can't believe we had all these guys at a race and on the track. It's crazy. So I don't know how to ask this question, but at any point were you like, am I really supposed to be out here? Or like, you know, because I know I would have maybe felt that way at one point. Like, man, do I really belong here? And then for you to freaking go out there, like I said, and put it in the top 5 and just ride so awesome. It was like, damn right, I belong here.
Well, no exaggeration. My wife's the only person that knows, but like the 3 nights leading up to that race, I almost didn't sleep at all. And it almost like to where I wanted to cry because I kept telling her, like, I don't belong out there. I don't belong out there. I don't belong out there. Okay. And I didn't want to do it when the time came to do it. And then we went out for time qualifier. And I think I don't know, I was like 9th or something like that.
Right in the mix. Yeah, like, that's what I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. 8th, 9th, 10th, something. Yep. And I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. I wanted to finish top 10. And then once the first moto happened, I lifted in the start and just to avoid any, not trying to crash in the start.
Of course.
And I started picking guys off, and it was guys who I would have never thought I would pick off. And I'm like, okay, now it's time. And after the first moto, I'm like, all right, I'm good. And my name doesn't belong out there, but dude, it was fun.
It was awesome, man. It was so cool. Like, look at so your goal was top 10 and you finished 5th. Obviously Natalia wins, Wimmer, Bithel, Pelchat. We talked about them. You're 5th. So then look at the names behind you, man. Like, you should frame this and put it on your wall. Ellis, Bird, Hit, G, Upperman, DeNoble. I mean, the list goes on. Patrick Brown and there's a number of other guys on there with Travis Bader and Doug Gust and Johnny Hale and all kinds of names, Hagzema. But yeah, man, those numbers, those names that joined you in the top 10 there, Ellis, Bird, Hit, G, Upperman behind you, man. That's so cool. So
it was super cool.
Gosh, it's one of those things I wish I could go back and relive again because it was so amazing. All the people, all the hype, all the cars and the seas of just these fans. And dude, it was just unreal. Just unreal.
We had, I think come and hang out under our tent and camp around us. I think we had to have like 40 people, I think, come and hang out at our motorhome.
Unreal, dude.
And everybody had the same amount. It was crazy. I haven't seen that many people in ever 20 years at the motocross race. Yeah,
ever because you and I were, that was your heyday in 2007, 8 when WPSA was doing its thing, and you'd think of that probably as the biggest, baddest the sport has been, really, at least in our lifetime. So pretty much ever. I agree. And yeah, I mean, I still think there was never a crowd of people, of spectators like we saw at Briarcliff, just unreal, dude. Just unreal.
Yeah. The spectators, there was a lot there. It was really cool to see everybody come out, and it just goes to show you, when you promote cool stuff, what you can bring to the sport.
Yep.
It's amazing.
I agree. Like I said on my last episode with Kinsey, I don't know how much I can say right now. I know we'll have Jeremy on pretty soon, and I don't know when he'll announce some things, but he's got something really cool planned for 2025 for his national this year. And it's cool because Briarcliff is the finale, and it's not going to just be a cookie cutter national. There is something special that's going to be going on. It's not going to be the Legends race, but I do think that per conversations I've had with Jeremy, there will be another Legends race someday, sometime. It might be 5 years or 10, whatever it is, but there will be another Legends race. And can you imagine? Because like everybody knew this was going to be big, in 2024, but like nobody knew how big. And now I really think if we do another one, years down the road, it might be that much even bigger because people saw how crazy awesome this was.
I agree with that. Knowing how big it was the last time, if you give it a little bit of time, the next one should be even bigger.
See, and that's the balance. And I think that's the conversation that Jeremy and I had. Is the thing is you can't just make it a regular thing because it'll lose its mystique. It needs to be,
for sure,
like I said, and maybe 5 is too soon. Maybe 5 years is too soon. But if it was every 10 or something like that, it would definitely not lose any luster.
I agree with that.
What amazing memories to have. So, Billy, we're talking about the season opener here. I can't believe as we sit here right now, it's March. That blows my mind. I can't believe that that the season opener is just a few days away. The racers that are going to race there on Tuesday are already there. Supercross is an hour from now. Yep. So I remember what that was like for us and being down there and being in the bowl already. You move in on Friday and now Supercross is today, amateur motocross for a couple days, and then the ATVs go racing. So what an amazing thing that is, that we're still racing inside Daytona. Those are some of my best memories, man, and stuff like that. I just can't believe the season's finally here, or already here, I should say. But what do you remember from, and I don't know if you would have ever raced Daytona, but I didn't think so as you shake your head no here. But what do you remember from season openers in general? Because it's such an exciting time. Like every single guy has some kind of hope. And I don't mean that, the guy that's going to finish 13th thought he was going to win, but everybody has expectations that they think that they're going to meet in this new season. A new season brings opportunity, and there's just some excitement that comes with a new season and new gear and new machines and new colors and all that stuff. And then especially now that it's become so normal for us to do it inside Daytona at the world capital, of racing, such a special thing is a season opener, especially inside Daytona. But what do you remember of the emotions and stuff that come with a season opener? Because like I said, the vibes are so high for just about everybody. It's hard to beat that feeling.
Yeah, it's weird because you're so excited to get out there, but there's almost like a nervousness, like for me, because it was like every year showing back up to the first race, you had expectations moving up a class, but you didn't know, what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. You could be as confident as you want, but as soon as you get out on the track, whether you're feeling it or not. And it was cool because I had, my seasons, the first race, and then I didn't race Daytona, but the year that I wrenched for Thomas,
correct,
I got to be there and help him. And it was a last minute thing. We were there to watch the race, and something happened and the mechanic couldn't come, and I ended up just doing it. And it was pretty cool too to see it from the other side, not as the racer, but as being right there next to him, feeling his emotions as well.
Sure.
It's pretty cool. I've always enjoyed the beginning of the season because of the unexpected, the unknown. It makes it a little bit more fun, I think.
And that was the other thing that I was going to hit on, was the fact that there are some nerves that come along with it because, now these guys haven't seen each other on a racetrack in a competitive situation for months and months, whatever it is, 6 or 7 months or however the math works out. And what comes along with that is it's almost like you have to confirm where you're at again. It's like there's like a feeling out period of like, okay, like where do I fit in? Everybody kind of wants to see like what everybody brung kind of thing. And that's an exciting thing too. So I'm always excited to see the opener and how it all stacks up. And I think there's a lot to be said about like the momentum that you create, or the bar you set for yourself at the opener. It can go one of two ways. You can set that bar really high and have momentum and use that as a driving force going forward. And if you maybe don't have the best opener, like it's not necessarily the easiest thing to overcome. The only plus side to Daytona is that it's only half points. It's only points for one moto. So like I remember leaving there one of the years, and I think I had a decent finish. Like I would have finished in the top 10 or whatever. And I remember leaving there with, 12 or 13 or 14 points or whatever it would have been. And I remember thinking like, all the thousands and thousands of dollars to be here and stuff, like it's priceless, right? It's priceless. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I'm like, man, but either way, I mean, best memories I probably have. Some of my best pro memories are in Daytona, but I still like, as much as you can use it as momentum, at the same time, it's half points. Like it's not that big.
Yeah. It's kind of fun saying it like that. I never really thought about it like that.
But that's the thing. And I've said this before, probably just about every year we talk about Daytona on my show, but like, I also associate Daytona with some of like the most nerves I ever had. Cause I was also those first years where it was so big and we had, 26, 7, 8 guys trying to qualify for the pro class, 16 make it. And I just remember being so scared that I wasn't going to qualify, and and it was never sketchy for me. I never had to go to the LCQ, thank God. But I just remember being so nervous, like, man, okay. And same thing. I shouldn't have thought this way, but I'm like, man, we spent all this money to be here. Like, God, if I don't make it, like how embarrassing. We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ 450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ 450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ 450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ 450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV Motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Off-Road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion Top Fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at SSIDecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you? For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence, knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
The following message is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The Manscaped engineering team has outdone themselves this time, creating the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, now available for purchase in the US and Canada. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, an official sponsor of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0 and I am blown away. This thing is next level. What sets this trimmer apart from all the rest? The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It features a new multi-functioning on-off switch with travel lock for those of us who like to travel. And my favorite, the new trimmer allows you to customize your trim with 4 different guard lengths, an upgrade from its predecessor that only featured 2. If you're listening, you know that good tools are a must, so wait no more to get the best tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com by using code DiggingDeep20.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheel racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen, plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Headlined by their 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the #1 choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the pro paddock with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. With the desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the Ultimate Protection Collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. You kind of touched on the fact that, you come into an opener not really knowing what to expect, not knowing where you stack up. And that's definitely where these rookies are going to be on Tuesday. The 2 rookies were we know that are going to be racing. The guys that announced it at the banquet, Jaden Launderville and Joey Norris, both going to be, in the pro class this year. That's exciting. Both of those guys have flashed some great things in pro am and pro sport in the past. That's really exciting to see what those guys are going to do. But one of the main stories, one of the biggest stories that I'm kind of following, or is cool that we heard about in the last few days here from the offseason going into the opener, is your brother-in-law, Thomas Brown, making a comeback to the ATV Nationals, not as a rider, but as a mechanic for Chad Weenan, man. How cool is that? Like now, and I knew it'd be fun to kind of talk to you about this because you mechanics for Thomas, and now Thomas coming back to wrench for Chad, man, pretty damn cool. Like 10 years ago when those dudes were battling for race wins, they were always close, obviously. So like this wouldn't have been that far-fetched, but still pretty damn cool thing going on here in 2025.
Yeah, I agree. Thomas mentioned it to me a little while ago, and we talked about it. And I'm like, man, it's so cool because you see everything from such a different perspective. Like me watching him ride as compared to him being on the track. It's weird how you see different lines that they don't. And I think it was really cool being able to talk to him about it, and me being somebody that Thomas could talk to, and I would understand what he was saying. So now him doing that with Chad, I think is going to be really good for the both of them. I think Thomas is going to have a blast, and I think it'll really help Chad. And I think there's something to say for that with people that have the mechanics. Like, I think Johnny Hale being a mechanic and helping guys is huge because, you know, he's recently, I don't want to say recently, but more recent than a lot of guys, been there, done that, and can understand and see things, you know, like, you know, Mark has been out of the game for a long time, but he can still see it. But there's a lot of guys out there that never really did it that are doing the wrenching. I think it's very beneficial for the guys to have somebody there alongside them that they can talk to and understand exactly what each other are saying.
Yeah, I think Thomas has always been one of those guys that he can see things on the racetrack, obviously at the level that he was at. He can see things on the racetrack that you or I can't even probably see, you know, and then to have that in Chad's corner, I think that's a really exciting thing. So that's a really cool storyline to follow. I hope that we can have Thomas. I mean, he's been such an awesome guest over the years on our show. So I hope that that's something that we can do is debrief with him after some of these races. Hopefully some good races for Chad that we can talk about with Thomas. That'll be fun. Let's kind of get into our pro class. We'll talk about these guys a little bit kind of leading up to the opener. I don't want to get too long-winded here. Like in years past, we're going to kind of go through this in the order of our fantasy stuff. So how the tiers work out for fantasy. ATV Fantasy signups are open. Obviously, we're just a few days away at this point. So everybody, if you haven't done so already, flock to atvfantasy.com. Get signed up for a new season of ATV Fantasy. We got bigger and better prizes than ever before. We're working with Yamaha on some stuff there. So that's going to be super cool and super fun. We're super proud of that. Obviously, our top tier rider, Joel Hetrick, he's a back-to-back-to-back champion at this point, undefeated, the whole deal, Billy. People who have already signed up for ATV Fantasy will find that Joel Hetrick is the only guy in tier one because that's what happens when you're undefeated and back-to-back-to-back and all those things. I mean, let's be honest. He didn't have a ton of challenge last year. Those guys had their times where Bryce led him for a little while and Brandon got a little fiery with him and stuff like that. But until otherwise, Joel Hetrick is going to be kind of in his own tier. Like straight up, that's just how it's going to be. What do you expect from Joel? Obviously, he's been rock solid at the opener. Remember, you know, we used to talk about him having to, you know, kind of having issues at the opener. Daytona was kind of a bugaboo for him. He's totally put that to bed at this point. You know, I would expect that his hope is to get a good start, right? Get a good start on Tuesday and put everybody kind of in his rear view. But last year, and we've seen this a lot from him now, especially at Daytona, you get a good start, you throw in a few good, really hard, fiery Joel Hetrick burner laps, and then you cruise. And that's what he's going to try to do on Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard to not put him in a tier of his own until we see the progression of Hoagie and Bryce and see how Chad feels when he comes back and stuff. But with his starts being as good as they've been, if he gets to start and can put a couple heaters in, it's almost hard to bet against him not leading every lap.
Yeah.
I mean, he's and we talked before, and he's got a set depending on the track amount of seconds that he wants Gary to put on the pit board.
Okay.
And when he goes by and it's the right amount of seconds, then it's I'm just going to maintain this lead, you know.
And we've seen
I mean,
that since he's been on the Yamaha. He's got that so freaking dialed, Billy. It's crazy.
Oh, he's like one with the machine, and you can see it. The guy's got close in qualifiers a few times and stuff, but you see it. It's like every time somebody puts in another half a second, he's like, bang, half second faster the next lap, another half second, bang. And it's like he almost only goes as fast as he has to go.
I think that's exactly what it is. Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. I always say on these shows, he's got more speed. He's got more speed than he has if he needs to tap into it. Now, I hope that nobody like takes any offense to that, because those guys have continued to get closer to him, like Brandon and Bryce. I agree. Brandon and Bryce are at an incredible level right now, where if it wasn't for Joel being a total alien, plugging our Digging Deep alien merch there, but if he wasn't if he wasn't a complete alien, those guys are at race winning level. It's just that they're battling potentially the greatest of all time, you know? So yeah, it's crazy. Now, you know, moving on to tier 2, then we're touching on those guys already. Bryce Ford, who finished second in points last year, Brandon Hogue, who had his best season yet, representing Team USA at Quad Cross of Nations, all those things. He finished third in points. And then this is where we're going to find Chad Wienen. Obviously, he's never been a tier 2 rider before in ATV Fantasy as long as it's existed, but he's been off for an entire year. And frankly, last year and I admittedly am a gigantic Chad Wienen fan. I have been for 20 years. But last year, what we saw from Chad at the opener was unlike anything we've ever seen from Chad really before, where he was kind of stuck mid-pack outside the top 5 and going backwards. And I think it was a fluke. That's not what I would have expected from him the rest of the year if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. But at the same time, he's overcoming something he's also never had to overcome before, which is more time off than even in that 2011 season where he broke his back. He's been off for an entire year from racing, and I can't wait to see the number 44 out there, but I don't know what to expect. Maybe I would say he's my favorite in tier 2, but at the same time, I don't know if his starts are as good as Hogue's and Bryce's at Daytona, especially. That's what's most important, is that start.
Daytona is tough being the opener because it has its own set of limitations as far as making it through the pack and being able to do it clean and smooth and fast. If it was opening somewhere else, and like you said, I hope nobody takes offense to anything, but I feel as though if he's within 5 seconds or so of the other tier 2 guys on any other track, come end of the race, he's coming. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because he can. That's another thing that I think differentiates a lot of the guys is Joel and Chad are some of the only ones I think in the class that their fastest lap, they can do it for 12 laps straight. And a lot of the other guys can do it for 6 or 7 laps, and I don't think it's a fitness thing. I think it's just minor mistakes here and there, but Joel and Chad, I think, have perfected the craft so well that they can do it over and over and over and over and over. And that's what makes them great.
In this race in tier 2, for me, at least, like a year ago at this time, I still was like, well, like Bryce and Brandon are so solid, but are they as good as Chad? You know?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And now I'm like, well, because we saw so many good things from Bryce and Brandon. Yeah. I'm like, man, like, is Chad willing to go there if they're getting really racy? And I'm sure he is. Like, again, like I hope that that's the case, but until I see it, I'm like, gosh, I can't picture those guys in a like a to the death battle. Like, I just can't picture it because Chad's been a step ahead of those guys, but those guys are that much better than they were a season ago when we would have been having this conversation. So I can't wait to see that tier there for tier 2. Tier 3, this one, they're really not tier 3 riders, but
No.
Bryce and Brandon Hogue, those two took such a step last year that they earned themselves, their spot in tier 2. So tier 3 are podium guys from a year ago, podium guys throughout their careers, with Max Lindquist, who had his best season as a pro last year, most improved guy, 4th in points. He was amazing. And he's a guy that could definitely graduate to tier 2, depending on how the start of the season goes here. Wesley Wolf is in this tier. He was absolute dog last year and came back from that injury and got on the podium. And man, just like that was my favorite story of 2024 was what we saw from Wesley Wolf. So he's also in this tier, along with Jeffrey Rastrelli and Nick Januza, who need no introduction, but they battled injury last year. And that's the other thing that's probably the most exciting for me in 2025 is that we raced so much of the season last year without so many of our best guys. And now to have the whole gamut of guys, the whole roster of guys back for 2025, I'm absolutely jacked. But Max Lindquist, Wesley Wolf, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Januza is going to be another battle. And dude, like we're almost now to the end of the top 10. And all those guys are guys that are going to be going into Daytona hoping and looking for a podium. And there's going to be somebody that finishes 7th or 8th that's going to be like, man, I'm not stoked about this.
Right. Yeah. That somebody's going to finish 7th or 8th that thought they were going to get on the podium. And it's hard to say. I talked to Jeffrey not too long ago. He's feeling really good. So I'm feeling confident for Jeffrey to do well.
Okay.
But hot take, I think after watching Wesley at the end of last season, there's going to be multiple podiums this season that have Wesley Wolf on.
I hope so. And I don't even think it's a hot take. That dude was amazing last year.
Yes.
And he he came on the show and kind of told us why. He was all in the preseason, going all out for a final season. He gets hurt. He decides he's going to come back for another season. And he's not a big social media guy, right? So we haven't been seeing him all over social media, but you have to know with the way he played it last year, that this year he's going to come in just as ready, if not more ready. And I'm looking forward to and predicting kind of the same things, is he's going to have a really, really big year. And there's just no quitting that guy. I think he could be a guy that shines in this tier. And like I said, any of these guys, if they prove that they're going to be with Bryce and Brandon and Chad, if those guys are going to be racing every weekend, we're absolutely moving up another tier there. So then the next tier, and there are guys in this tier too, who are going to be expecting podiums. I really believe that. And now you're through the top 10 because Mason Jackson finished 5th last year and won Rookie of the Year. So his kind of next goal is going to be a podium. Kevin Saar, the international superstar, new team for him, teammate with Brandon Hogue. He is a former podium finisher, so he's definitely on the hunt for another podium. And then probably the most intriguing guy, at least to me in tier 4, is a guy returning from injury, basically gone for 2 full seasons now. So great to see him back, Zach Decker, coming back from injury. And if everybody remembers, I know we saw him at Daytona last year before he got hurt, but dating back before that, when he got hurt at Gatorback, he was running in podium position. He was running in podium position. He finished on the podium in the first moto. And that's another guy that's next. I mean, he needs to put in some good, some finishes and finish a season and finish some races and all that stuff. But he's a guy that's went podium speed before, and that's definitely going to be his goal. So this is another tier where I'm like, man, I'm just licking my chops to see how this is going to play out. Like the racing in this top 10 should be absolutely incredible.
Yes, I agree. Man, that's
what do you even say, right? Like because a guy like Decker could be 3rd or 4th, and I really wouldn't be surprised. I don't think.
No, and I think with Daytona, a lot of it's going to be, how comfortable the guys are in the starts.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. Like I want to see it all jumbled up. Like I want to see some of those guys get a really good hole shot and some other guys have to go through them. And I love that. We've seen such good racing at Daytona over the years. That last tier 5, Joey Chambers, who was rock solid last year, Cody Ford, Adam Ulrich, Marshall Smith. I don't know if he'll be at this one or not. And then we talked about the rookies, Jaden Launderville and Joey Norris. Both were absolutely incredible in pro sport last year at Daytona. So I can't wait wait to see what those guys have in store for the season opener here as they make their pro debut. Billy, let's rapid fire because I want to get you out of here. I want to talk about two things though before we get out of here. The first one is your fantasy team. So let's kind of go through these tiers. We know you got Joel Hetrick in the first tier. That tier 2, your choice would be between Bryce Ford, Brandon Hogue, and Chad Wienen. Who would you be picking there in that second tier?
It's got to be Chad.
How do you bet against the guy?
It's hard to bet against Chad Wienen. In any sense of the sport, it's hard to bet against Chad Wienen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got Joel Hetrick and Chad Wienen. Hard to beat that combo right there. This is the first time you're going to have ever been able to put both of them on your fantasy team.
Right. Yes,
so that's kind of a cool thing. Tier 3, Max Lindquist, Wesley Wolf, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa. Who you got?
I'm going Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's what you said. I figured that's where you were going to go. So he's feeling good coming into the season, obviously.
Yeah, I talked to him probably a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe. And he's feeling good. So if he's feeling good and he's got his starts even remotely dialed, I am definitely confident in Jeffrey.
Well, and I think that he's been spending time, if it's anything like last year, he's been spending time with Brandon Hogue and with Jaden Launderville. He'll know exactly where his speed is at against some of the best guys out there. So that's an exciting thing to hear. Tier 4, Mason Jackson, Kevin Sarr, Zach Decker.
I have to go with Mason Jackson. I think he really impressed me last season.
Yep.
And I think, again, just like every other one, with a decent start, I think the kid's going to do really well.
Yeah, I'm very curious because he's so rock solid. Like every weekend, you knew what you were going to get from him. He wasn't going to go on his lid. If he did have something happen, he was going to continue to race to the front, which makes him a great fantasy pick. I do think that Zach Decker is going to be one to watch there, though, and I hope so.
He's fast, and I don't know. It's weird because Daytona, if it was a different type of track or different style of track, it would have changed my opinion on that, I think. But I think if it was a more open track, faster track, I would have went with Zach. But yeah, Mason, I don't know. I think that's me.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that pick at all. The thing that you're touching on too, I think it almost rewards a patient rider because those ruts get so gnarly, those train tracks in the corners get so gnarly that if you blow one, we see people every year get stuck in berms there, and that has a lot to do with it. So you got to respect that Daytona racetrack for sure. Tier 5, last rider you're adding to your team: Joe Chambers, Cody Ford, Adam Ulrich, Marshall Smith, Jaden Launderville, or Joey Norris making their pro debuts. Who are you picking?
I'm probably going to go with Launderville because he's very methodical. It seems like the majority of the time we actually talked about this before, where he rides, I think, similar to Chad, but he kind of has to because they're both so tall and lanky. He
makes Chad look like a little guy.
Yeah, right. I really like Chambers. I like his riding style a lot. We'll see. If he worked on his starts, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I really like the way the kid rides. It's just hard. Some of them guys always coming from the back, it's just too much work. When we're talking about how stacked every one of these tiers is, it's hard on, it's got to be hard on them guys. So I'm going to have to go with Launderville on that.
I think that's where my thought would be too, is JJ. I know what I'm going to get from him. I don't look at him as a kid that's going to be, like I've talked about before, my biggest downfall in the pro class was it still was infatuated with the guys at the front. Like I was still a super fan of John Natale and, Josh Upperman and Chad Wienen and all the names go down the list, Josh Creamer, Thomas Brown. And I just don't look at JJ like he's got something else in him where I think he's going to be expecting to go out there and do well. So I think that's going to be fun to watch. So I can't wait for that. Billy, last question for you. We've outlined a lot of stuff here already. This is a perfect preview for the opener. I love what we've done here. So last question for you is going to be your podium prediction. Who you got?
My podium is going to be Joel, Chad.
Now this is the hard one right here.
I'm going to say Joel, Chad here at Daytona. Joel, Chad, Bryce.
Okay. Obviously, no hard to argue that one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, and I don't know how or why, I probably start related is how this is going to go down, but I think it's going to be a repeat of last year, Joel, Bryce, Brandon. For whatever reason, that's just how I feel. I think Chad probably comes in fourth, maybe doesn't get the start he needs, and then ends up going on to be possibly the second place guy as we go outdoors and kind of get back to the season that we expect here on kind of the normal tracks for ATV motocross. But yeah, Billy, this has been so much fun. Like I said, man, I can't thank you enough for giving me a little of your time here, coming to us from your vacation spot and all these things, man. Such an exciting time, the season opener here. And I just can't thank you enough for giving me a little of your time. So we talked about the races and the class and what we expect and your fantasy team and all these things. So we'll have to follow up on the backside after we see this thing go down. We'll chat about how it went.
Yeah, man. Anytime, get a hold of me. I'm always down to, talk some moto for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you reaching out and being down for this, and we'll see how your predictions and your picks play out, and then we'll talk on the backside, pal. I can't thank you enough.
All right, man. Sound good.
That's Billy Cottage signing off on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast on our Daytona race preview and season preview show. Have a good night, pal. Safe travels, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Yeah, man. Sounds good.
Thanks, buddy. See ya. It is time. Let's go racing. I'm realizing now that I tiptoed, but I didn't necessarily outline my fantasy team for the season opener here. So let me head over to atvfantasy.com. I'll pull up my app here. So like we talked about, tier 1, absolute lock with Joel Hatrick. He's your only choice there. So everybody's going to have Joel Hatrick. Tier 2 is probably my hardest one. Like we kind of talked about in the episode with Billy, my gut tells me Bryce Ford's whole shots are going to make him hard to bet against here, but it's so hard to pick against Chad Wienen and Brandon Hoag's so gnarly too. I said with Billy that I was going to pick Bryce, but I've had Chad on my team this whole time. We're going to go Bryce. We're going to stick with Bryce. Bryce for tier 2. Max Lindquist is my guy for tier 3. Going to maybe gamble a little bit on Zach Decker for tier 4. I think his upside is hard to argue against there. And then in tier 5, I'm going with Jaden Launderville. As a rookie, he's still, I think, just going to be a hard guy to bet against. So my team, Joel Hetrick, Bryce Ford, I think, Max Lindquist, Zach Decker, Jaden Launderville. But I will say that is subject to change. You can start locking in your team now, start to daydream about it, get in on the fun. And we're just a couple days away. We got cool things going on for ATV Fantasy in 2025. Going to try to change it up, spruce it up. We're going to do new shirts. We're working with Yamaha on some cool things for some prizes. I want to do bigger and better for 2025. That is our plan. So sign up today at atvfantasy.com, and you don't want to waste any more time. We're just about 36 hours away, maybe right now, from some gates dropping in Daytona there. So don't waste any more time. And traditionally, our last day before the opener is where so many of the signups seem to flood in. So we are excited about that. Thanks to Billy Cottage for being a phenomenal guest this week. Can't thank him enough for taking a little time away from his vacation to join us. That was phenomenal. Thanks to all of our partners, CST Tires. Go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing. Use discount code DiggingDeep15 at uppracing.com. And Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. You can find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear parts needs and to help us out along the way. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. Shop our Digging Deep merch at shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com. We got some cool, fun stuff going on there, some newer drops that we are really excited about, so check that out today. Like we've been saying, everybody should be flocking to atvfantasy.com. I'll say it that one last time. You should be heading to atvfantasy.com right now for the start of this brand new Digging Deep ATV Fantasy season. Head over to atvfantasy.com ASAP. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Cody Jansen for additional content, coverage, and more fun stuff as we are within just days of the start of a brand new season of ATV Motocross. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend, please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Billy Cottage, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen, thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing with more than 275,000 downloads last month in 111 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quadlers are freaking gnarly.